You can join us live for our next BookFunnel webinar. Check out the link in the description for more details. We hope to see you there.
So a couple things I want to mention before we dive into questions and so forth. As you can see, I'm here on the BookFunnel YouTube channel. If you haven't already, it's highly recommended before you, of course, it's too late now. You're already here for the Q&A session. But I do recommend that you watch both of these orientation sessions if you are new to BookFunnel. This is our Getting Started with BookFunnel playlist. It's the top featured playlist on the BookFunnel YouTube channel. So head over there, subscribe to the channel, and that will also keep you updated on other videos that we release. But these two orientations really are going to cover everything you need to know to get started. The first one, the basics session, is just covering the basics of getting your account set up. This is like the most fundamental, honestly, kind of boring stuff, but good to know. It's stuff you need to know to get your account set up and running. And then the group promos orientation covers some more details about participating in group promotions. We know this is a feature that a lot of new users are interested in. So we have a separate session that goes into detail on that because it's promos and so forth. As you can see, both sessions are about 55 minutes in length, and promos very in-depth topic, right? So we wanted to make sure that we had a separate session for that to go into detail on that. If you're not participating in BookFunnel group promotions, totally fine, probably still worth watching just so you know like how they work and everything. But here on the channel, we also have all of our webinars. We have some of our webinars from last month recently here on the channel. Some of our most popular webinars, including the 5 reader magnets that every author needs, turbocharging your newsletter swaps, and more. We've got about 25 webinars here on the channel, all of them about an hour in length. So you can check those out, browse those. And we also have the BookFunnel podcast, a little more entertainment in that respect, but we also bring on guests to talk about topics specific to self-publishing. So we've had on recently Katie Cross, who is big in self-publishing for direct sales. She, of course, sells everything through her direct store. Not everything. She does have her books wide. I should preface that, but her main source of income is through her direct store using Shopify. We had Mallory Cooper on recently to talk about Facebook ads. Kate Hall we had on a few months back, but if you use TikTok, for example, as a social media platform, or you like the idea of using TikTok to promote your books, you're going to want to watch this episode. It has about 1,000 views, and that's for a reason, because there's a lot of really good information in that episode of the podcast. We also have some other segments here on the channel as well, including tips from the trenches, going into some self-publishing tips with our guests that we bring on for the podcast. So the YouTube channel, probably a good place for you to head on over and subscribe. It also, not only that, it also helps me out. I'm the one who mainly runs the BookFunnel YouTube channel. So if you go there and you subscribe and you watch videos, it tells, the powers that be at BookFunnel that Jack's doing a good job. Right, so I appreciate it. Right. Also, I recommend you head over to Facebook if you haven't already. Join our BookFunnel Authors Only Facebook group. That's the name of the group. You can see here if you just search for that. We got about 5,000 members in the group now. We post some announcements and so forth in here, but also this is a place where you can chat and discuss things related to BookFunnel, self-publishing with other BookFunnel authors. All BookFunnel admins are in here as well. So we're there to answer your questions if you have them. So beyond just the scope of today, if you have additional questions, feel free to do so. One note here, and this is maybe a little out of order. I'll drop some of these links in the chat here before we get on to questions. But if you're wanting to listen to the BookFunnel podcast, it is now available in audio, so you can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, and so forth. And so that's another reference there for you. I should have mentioned that before I switched to the Facebook page. A little bit out of order here. And then as far as resources are concerned for you guys, I want to make you guys aware of the BookFunnel author knowledge base. If you aren't familiar with it, the author knowledge base, authors.bookfunnel.com, is where you can find details about all BookFunnel features. We have how-to articles in here So for example, if you're wanting to send ARCs with certified mail, we have a number of articles that will go into detail on not only how you can use it and send a certified mail campaign, but comparing it to, say, restricted pages. So we have a number of articles on each and every feature that BookFunnel has to offer. Some of these also have tutorial videos to go along with them to show you step by step how you can use that aspect of BookFunnel. So the author knowledge base is a great resource for you, but of course, you should always feel free to reach out to BookFunnel author support. You can email us at support@bookfunnel.com. We answer emails pretty much around the clock, except for when we are sleeping, about 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's where most of us in the BookFunnel team are located. So if you reach out to us by email during that time, you should expect to receive an answer pretty quickly. We try to get reply back within a few hours in most cases. So if you do have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Or if you're having trouble with your account or something like that, again, don't hesitate to reach out and ask for help. So before we get going along too far here, let me go ahead and drop some of these links in here into the chat. And then we'll move along. I should have had this all prepared and ready to go, right? And the author knowledge base. Let's also drop that in there as well. There we go. There's a few links for you guys for your reference. All right. So we're going to go ahead and just take a quick look at the BookFunnel dashboard. That's where we are now. Just I want to make sure that everybody's familiar with everything on the dashboard before we dive into some questions. So if you're navigating the BookFunnel dashboard, there's basically two main areas you're going to be looking for stuff. Either this left navigation bar, this is where most everything is going to be, right? Or you're going to be looking up here in this upper right-hand corner, right? This is where you're going to find stuff mainly about your account. So if you need to manage your account, you can go here and go to your account settings. This is where you can change stuff like your name, your email that you use to log in. You can update your password. You can give team logins. So if you have a team member, maybe an assistant or something like that, you need to give access to your BookFunnel account. You can add their login. You can update your billing information, update your plan. Basically, everything you can do right here from your account details. You can also suspend or cancel your account from here as well. You can get help from this upper right-hand menu as well. This allows you to search the author knowledge base for one. You can just put in this search bar what question you might have, and it will pull up relevant articles from the author knowledge base, and that will send you over there so you can check those out. And you can also contact support right here from your dashboard. This is literally just an email subject line and message body. So you can type in your message, your help request, and get help from BookFunnel author support right from your dashboard. The calendar up here in this upper right-hand corner, this allows you to add events to your calendar here on the BookFunnel dashboard. If you participate in BookFunnel promos and swaps, those get added to this calendar automatically. So it's kind of a reference for you for those. But if you want to add other events to those, it's just kind of a convenience feature if you find that helpful. And then the videos, I think this needs to be updated. This will take you to bookfunnel.com/videos. This is where we used to put all of our orientations and webinars before we added them to the YouTube channel. So you can still find them here. In the near future, this is actually going to get updated so that this is using the YouTube links instead. The advantage of YouTube, guys, is that you can also comment on a video on YouTube, and our author support team will reply in the comments on YouTube. With these videos here, there's no comment section, so you're just watching them. But maybe, hey, if you don't want to watch them with ads, that's an option for you as well. Then if we're looking at the left-hand menu, a couple things I just want to point out first so that you're aware of them. First, the Add New button. This is your best friend. Whatever you're doing on BookFunnel, if you need to add a new book, add a new landing page, add a pen name, etc., you can do all that here right from the Add New button. This button is always there on your dashboard. Doesn't matter where you are. So you can very easily just click that, add a new book, add a new landing page from wherever you happen to be on your dashboard. On the home tab, we will see some of our recent activity on our account, so downloads and so forth. This is a test account, so as you can see, not a whole lot of activity on here. Your account may have more activity than this, or maybe if you haven't shared your books with your readers yet, you might not see any data here yet. But as you share your books with your readers, you'll see that data show up here on your homepage. It's really going to give you like a snapshot of the last 30 days on what's been going on, what readers have been downloading, where they've been downloading it from, in terms of like which BookFunnel landing page they downloaded from, or was it from a certified mail campaign, or was it direct sales? You'll be able to see all of that here on your home tab. Now, under books and landing pages, this is where a lot of your BookFunnel related stuff is going to be stored. So when you add your books to BookFunnel, that process, by the way, is detailed in the basics orientation if you want to see how that's done. We're not going to be going into detail on that today, but if there's some questions, there might be some aspects of that that I might show. But you can see here we have a long list of books. We have numerous versions of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland that we used to add every time we did an orientation. We used to do those orientations very regularly. We switched to these Q&A sessions so we can answer some more detailed questions. But as you can see, we have all of our books here. We can sort them by name. We can sort them by author. We can sort them by the number of downloads that they've had, the date they were created, and so forth. We can also sort them into these submenus. So if you have ebooks and audiobooks on your account, or you have short audio, you can sort through those here in these submenus. Likewise, for landing pages, this is pretty much the same kind of thing. When you create a landing page, you'll be able to find it here under your landing pages tab. And again, we can sort by name, but we can also sort by the book that that landing page is associated with. And this is actually pretty convenient because you can make multiple landing pages for a single book. So you may want to find some that are associated with a specific book, for example. You can also copy the link to that landing page directly from here. This makes it easy for you to copy multiple links for multiple landing pages relatively quickly. And then again, we have those same submenus there to break things down. So if you have email sign-up pages, universal book links, download pages, etc., they'll all be sorted out here into these submenus. Then for the other features that you can use here on BookFunnel, you'll also find those here on this left-hand menu. So we have certified mail, gift a book, bulk delivery, right? These three features allow you to send books directly to readers. They each do it in a little different way. So certified mail, you can send up to 500 emails per month. This is our dedicated ARC delivery feature. So it's intended to deliver review copies. You provide the emails and you can customize email. I should say you provide the reader emails. Let me be clear here in the words I'm choosing. And you can customize the emails that those readers receive when their ARC is delivered, including the initial email with the private download link, a follow-up, and reminders as well. The gift to book feature allows you to send a single book to a single reader. You can email them that book with a gift link, or you can generate a gift code to share with them directly. And then bulk delivery, this is a feature that we designed specifically for Kickstarter, but that has other uses as well. Similar to certified mail, you provide a list of readers and you can deliver one or more books to those readers directly through their BookFunnel library. This allows you to kind of, the reason why we designed this feature in this way for Kickstarter, most of the time, if you're running a Kickstarter campaign, for example, you're going to be communicating with your backers through the Kickstarter platform, and as opposed to say email, you'd probably have access to their emails to deliver their books. But you can deliver them with bulk delivery and then let them know through Kickstarter, hey, you just need to log into your BookFunnel library, use the same email you use for Kickstarter. Your books are there waiting for you. And that can be more reliable sometimes than email. Certified mail, by the way, is also, like I mentioned, that it's really specific for review copies and ARCs. Now, group promos and author swaps, these are our two cross-promotional features on the BookFunnel dashboard. This is how you're going to be able to get your books in front of readers from your BookFunnel dashboard. Of course, you can use your BookFunnel landing pages in a number of ways outside of BookFunnel. But if you're looking for a way to find some readers directly from your BookFunnel dashboard, group promos and author swaps are where you'd want to look. So group promos, you'll see here we have a number of the major genres here. So for example, if you are in romance, there's about 1,000 different promos that are available. However, that's across all different romance subgenres. So you do have the ability to also change your promo settings to specifically look for a certain subgenre. So maybe you're looking for contemporary romance, or maybe you're getting really niche and you want contemporary sports romance. You can change your settings accordingly so that you can see just those promos that match those settings on your BookFunnel dashboard. With the group promos, you have a group of authors who are usually coming together to offer a free book to readers. All of those free books show up on a bundle page, and then each author in the promo will share that bundle page with their newsletter audience. And so the readers from their newsletter will show up to the bundle page. They might claim some different books. So, for example, if you're in a promo with a bunch of different authors, some of their readers are going to find your free book, download it, read it. They're going to become a fan of yours too. So it's basically a way for you to cross promote with other authors in your genre. Author swaps, kind of the same idea, except that it is one-to-one. So instead of trying to find a group of authors, you're finding one other author to match with. You can search and filter by genre and a number of other settings here. For example, if you're wanting to swap with just authors who are wide or just in KU, you can filter that way as well. But you can find authors in your genre to swap with. You share their book with your audience and they share yours, again, for the purpose of cross promotion. Lastly, direct sales, the sales tab here on the dashboard. If you are wanting to sell your books through your own direct store and have them delivered by BookFunnel, then this is where you would want to go to set that up. On BookFunnel, you can connect to Fourth Wall. We recently added Fourth Wall and Lemon Squeezy. I should mention them first. Gumroad, PayHip, Shopify, Thrivecart, and WooCommerce. We also have Zapier as an option for some more advanced connections. Zapier is kind of a middleman integration. It's not a sales platform itself, but you can sell using any one of those platforms, and BookFunnel can deliver your books directly to your readers, both ebooks and audiobooks. And in fact, in one of our webinars today, after this session, we will be actually talking about all of these platforms to kind of give you an idea of which one might be best for you if direct sales is something you're considering. That's our webinar coming up in, let's see, it's not immediately after this one. It's after the workshop. So that I think is noon Central Standard Time. Sorry to make some of you do math if you're not in Central Standard Time, but that's our session on which direct sales platform is best for you. And we'll be kind of breaking down all of the different platforms that are available. And then our print codes feature, this is a fun one. This is actually one of my favorite features on BookFunnel. This allows you to create batches of printable download codes. And unfortunately, I don't have the best demonstration here because this just here on the dashboard looks kind of plain. But we do have a webinar on this topic that actually shows some good examples and then goes over print codes in detail. Basically, these are ideal for in-person events, right? When you're face-to-face with readers, you can print these print codes, usually on an address label is what we recommend, and then put that like on a postcard or a bookmark or something physical that you can hand to readers. This also makes it really easy for you to do in-person direct sales of your ebooks and audiobooks because you have something physical to hand readers. You're not having to, mess around with sending them links and so forth. You can just use whatever point of sale software you're using there in person, hand them a card with a code on it, and they've just bought your ebook or audiobook right then and there. Then there's some additional settings here, things like domains, if you want to set up a custom domain so that your BookFunnel landing pages match your website branding. Integrations, this allows you to integrate with your mailing list service, MailChimp, MailerLite, ConvertKit. Well, ConvertKit is now just Kit. I should say. Some of these platforms change their names. It makes it a little confusing because I used to be able to rattle them all off, but they keep changing. And a number of other platforms. So if you use obviously as an author, you should have a mailing list. It's the number one marketing tool you have at your disposal. If you want the emails you collect with BookFunnel to be automatically added to your mailing list and have access to a few other really cool BookFunnel features, you'll want to check out direct integration. Direct integration can be added on to the mid-list author plan. So if you have the base mid-list author plan, you can add it to your plan, and it's also available on the bestseller plan by default. And then our pen names. This is just where you'll want to create your pen names. The basics orientation kind of covers this section. So if you have questions about that, I would recommend watching that. And then custom themes. A custom theme allows you to customize the appearance of your landing pages. We talk a little bit about this in our basics orientation, and we actually have a webinar on this as well, covering the topic of custom themes in detail. So you can check that out too. All right, so I've done the once over here on the BookFunnel dashboard. I'm going to jump into the chat because I know you guys have been posting maybe some questions in there, and we'll take a look at those. And as I'm going through here, feel free to submit any additional questions you might have, and I'll kind of get to them as we go along here. So let's see. So, a question here from Elise. Does BookFunnel work with nonfiction authors and business-styled books, or is it really for fantasy and fiction writers? That's a great question. BookFunnel is suitable for fiction and nonfiction alike. In fact, with the features that we have, we even have, like for example, with our short audio feature, we have some musicians who use BookFunnel to distribute their songs as well. So any way you can think to use BookFunnel's features is totally fine. So yes, nonfiction obviously fits in there. You might be using some of the features a little differently than say a fiction author might be using them, but absolutely. And there are group promos and swaps that you can find as well if you're looking to cross promote with other authors. Just note that there's a smaller population of nonfiction authors on BookFunnel, and nonfiction tends to be very niche. So you may actually want to look at author swaps to find an author who's very close in like your category if you're looking to cross promote. But if you're looking to use things like landing pages in order to collect emails, build your mailing list, or you're wanting to deliver review copies or something like that, you can absolutely use BookFunnel's features for nonfiction. In fact, this was a recent topic on one of our webinars, BookFunnel for nonfiction authors. This was actually in our last BookFunnel Live last month, so I recommend you go check that out as well if you have further questions. Oops, let me get back to the correct tab here. There we go. Yes, and there's a follow-up to that about group promos. There are some. Let's go back to the group promos tab here. So obviously the major genres are going to have the most. So sci-fi and fantasy, mystery and suspense, and of course romance. Right? Romance is always going to be the biggest one, guys. It just is. I'm a science fiction author myself. In case you didn't notice, these are some of my book covers on canvas here behind me. So I'm an author like you. But we do have some nonfiction promos as well, about 20 of them, which I'd say is pretty typical, somewhere in that range. I would recommend you take a look at these and see if they're going to be a good fit for you, see what they're about. The scope of those promos might be somewhat narrow. And so if your book's not a good fit for that, you may instead want to come to author swaps and search under nonfiction to find an author who's maybe a little closer to you in that regard, right? And you can always connect with authors outside of BookFunnel and be like, hey, I'd like to cross promote. Our books are pretty similar to each other, right? Here's my BookFunnel landing page. Like, let's each swap with each other. You can arrange stuff outside of BookFunnel and still use like a BookFunnel landing page in that regard to cross promote with other authors in that way. All right, so Elizabeth has a question here. Looks like we're asking about clicks. And so let's dive into this and see what this is about. So to help me understand the metrics, Are clicks per IP address? In other words, can someone go more than once to the same promo and have it count? Like if you share it in your newsletter twice and someone clicks twice, does it count once or twice? So this is a good question. So in BookFunnel promos, the reason why Elizabeth is asking this, for those of you who may not know, is because in promos, you have a reputation. And this reputation is based on the number of promos you participated in and the average number of clicks that you have generated for those promos. So this is basically a way to determine how much traffic you bring to promos on average, because we want everybody to do their part. Obviously, if you join a promo with a dozen authors and one person doesn't share the promo with their audience, they're not really pulling their weight, but they're still going to get all the benefit of being in the promo. The other authors are going to bring their audience to that promo. And so the reputation is a way to kind of keep everybody honest, obviously, and make sure everybody's doing their part. So that's why this question about clicks is coming up for those of you who may not have done promos before. So are clicks per IP address? Yes. So we are basically seeing we're checking by IP address when somebody comes into click, and they can count for one click in a 24-hour period. So if you share a promo with your newsletter and 50 people click on it, right? Provided that's 50 different IP addresses, right? That you'll get 50 clicks. Now, if you share that same promo again a week or two later, and those same 50 readers click on it again, you still get clicks for those because it's been longer than 24 hours. So any individual reader can count as one click in one 24-hour period. And we actually use this same kind of thing for things like downloads as well. This is outside of promos. So if a reader comes and downloads your book, right, we only count one download in that 24-hour period and things like that. So that's how it works for promos. And Elizabeth also has a follow-up question to this. So on a simple download page, if someone clicks on start reading in my browser, does it go to their library as well? Or only if they click on get my book? Right. So this is another good question. So let's go to a landing page here so I can demonstrate this. We need an email sign up page. Here we go. So let's see, which would be the best page for I think we have this example page. I think we can use this one. All right. So this is an email sign up page. As you can see, a typical BookFunnel landing page, they click get my book, and this is where they submit their email to claim the full copy of the book. And this read a sample in your browser link is what you'll see here for an email collection page. If they click on this, they read a sample of the book, and you can actually set up a sample under your book's settings to only show them up to a certain point. So this one here should end. Yep, there we go. Ends at about chapter 1 or so. And so at this point, they have to then go back to the landing page to then claim it, right? So if you use a sample link, they can only read the sample, and then they have to claim it in order to download it. However, if you are using just a simple download page, and let's see, this one should work. So here we have a simple download page. A simple download page doesn't collect the reader's email address, right? It doesn't collect their email address. In fact, they can just click get my book and they can decide how they want to download the book right then and there, right? There's applications for download pages, simple download pages. If you might be wondering, like, I would want to get their email address. Why wouldn't I want to do that? There's reasons why you might want to use this page type. If they click start reading in your browser, this gives them access to the full book. They can read the entire book in their browser this way, because a simple download page doesn't restrict them in any way to begin with. So they have this option to read this way if they choose. Right? If they want to have access to the book outside of this this browser reader, they would still need to click get my book and download it or add it to their BookFunnel library, depending on how you're distributing the book, right? So they would have to do one of those things in order to actually have the book. If they just click start reading in your browser, they can read it in their browser, but they haven't really downloaded it yet. So they will need to take that extra step. But it is different for email collection pages than it is for download pages. And so you'll see here on this email collection page, notice it's the sample link instead, whereas on a simple download page, they can read the whole book in their browser. All right. So another question from Elise. I started setting up my BookFunnel page and want to do discounted pre-orders after I send out free copies. I don't know how to switch that after a certain period of time. Okay, so I'm guessing here, and Elise, maybe you can follow up if you have, if I get this wrong here in the comments. But if you're wanting to offer a discount at a certain period of time, I'm guessing you might be using a universal book link. And now a universal book link. Let's open one of these. These were formerly known as BookFunnel sales landing pages, but a BookFunnel universal book link doesn't actually give readers the ability to download the book. Instead, it links them to various stores where they can purchase it. Now, this isn't the ideal example because we don't have any pricing details here at this point in time, but you can add those to your landing page. If I go here, let's actually go ahead and edit this landing page. If I wanted to add pricing details, I absolutely could. So this is, well, let me move Zoom around here so it's not in my way anymore. There we go. So for example, if I'm editing my ebooks, right, I have this section heading here where I could say, you know, what the price is. Perhaps it's, you know, $2.99 for a limited time, or something to that effect. I could then save the page. Let's go ahead and save that. And I can add that text here. Whoop. Let's reload it. Oh, what did I do wrong? Here. Did we save it? Did we save it properly? We did. Where are we? We're at the ebook section heading. We should be there. Well, I think you guys will forgive me here. I think we just need to, yep, we have that set up. Okay. Interesting. Well, that section heading should be showing up, but of course it's not. And that is rather embarrassing, but that's essentially what you would want to do is you'd want to, let me make sure that I'm actually opening the same page. That might actually be the best thing to do. I might actually have the wrong page open. Let's see. Yes, I had the wrong page open. That's why, because I was editing a totally different page from this one. That makes sense. Okay, there you go. There, so you can see this text is here, and I can edit the size of that text if I wanted to. If I go back to edit the page details, right, I can make that text really big, right? For example, if I want to. Now, when I save it, see, now I won't look like a fool. There we go, right? So I could do something like this, for example. However, I should note that the price on any of these stores, so for example, if your book is available on Amazon, it's available through your direct store, right? You're selling it on those other platforms. That's where you would need to actually update the price. So you could put a disclaimer like this on a landing page, right? To say, hey, it's on, there's a discount or something like that. I could always come back and then remove that text later if I wanted to get rid of that or change it. But the actual price itself does not change on BookFunnel. You have to go to those stores in order to edit the actual price that your book sells for on any other platform, right? So important to note, BookFunnel doesn't have the ability to actually change your price on other platforms, but on your landing pages, you can obviously use those to communicate some of that information with your readers. Oh, let's go back to the home tab here. All right. Let's keep going through these questions here. So Elizabeth asks, if you're brand new and have a reputation of 0-0, should you reach out to a promo organizer specifically to explain, or will they understand you're a newbie based on that rating? Most promo organizers will understand that you are a newbie, that you are new to BookFunnel group promos. because they were there once too, right? So that 0-0 reputation score, for example, that's what we're looking at right here. This is that what Elizabeth is referring to. When you join a promo, the organizer can see your reputation. So if they see that you have a 0-0 reputation, usually they'll understand that you're new to BookFunnel group promos. Now, some BookFunnel group promos may not allow you to join if you are new. So you'll want to read the description of that promo, but most of them are open to newbies. That's really the exception to the rule in most cases. You should always read the details of the promo, though, to see what the requirements are, to see what the organizer is expecting. But you shouldn't have to reach out to them if you're a beginner, you have a 0-0 reputation, you should be just fine. All right, question from Barbara. Where is the download data for a promo stored? I participated in a group promo, but found it difficult to locate this info. Since I don't have the mailing list integration set up, I needed to locate the data to get them uploaded to my mailing list. All right, so if you are in a group promo, and that's one thing I'm not going to be able to directly show you here because this demo account, I'm not in any promos currently with this demo account. But you would want to go to first your promos, and you would see a list of your promos here. If that promo is active, you can go and view the promo details page. And you should be able to see there on there the number of claims that you got, provided it is a newsletter promo. If it is a sales promo, BookFunnel doesn't track any of that data because a sales promo uses a universal book link, and those downloads are actually purchases and they occur on other stores outside of BookFunnel, right? But if it's a newsletter promo and they claimed your book, you should be able to see the total number of claims on the promo details page. However, when you want to go and then download your CSV of reader emails, that you're going to do by coming to your landing pages tab. So here, for example, if I look at my email sign-up pages, right? Perhaps I was using one of these for promos. And so I would then see, so for example, here, there's 2 readers that have claimed this, and then I can export the CSV file. And typically you want to export just the new subscribers. If you're doing this regularly, you can export everything. But that's really more for like record keeping and so forth. Ideally, you just want to export the new subscribers, and that will export everything since your last export is what that will do. And then you can upload that CSV file to your mailing list. So you'll want to actually come to the landing page itself in order to find that list of emails. If you're doing it that way. If you have direct integration, of course, they get added over there automatically. But if you don't have it, then that's where you'd find those. And then there was a second question here. Also, when I did locate the data, the number of signups indicated was larger than the number actually in the CSV file exported. Why would that be? So, I would need to see the details of that landing page to tell you specifically why it might appear to be the case. So the number of signups indicated was larger than the number actually in the CSV file. There's a number of reasons why that could happen. It could include some of your landing page settings. For example, if it was an optional sign up. So without seeing the actual landing page itself, I couldn't tell you exactly. I recommend reaching out to BookFunnel support if you haven't already, because obviously here on this live Q&A, I'm not going to be able to necessarily troubleshoot a specific issue like that, but there's a number of reasons why there might appear to be a discrepancy there. So I need to take a look at that to know for sure. Let's see here. Let's see. All right, a question here from Katharina. Quick question, can you confirm Squarespace can be linked with Zapier? So that's a good question. I believe that Zapier does connect to Squarespace. So you should be able to then connect to BookFunnel through Zapier. I would recommend Zapier does have a full list of their integrations, their available integrations on their website. So I'd recommend doing that. Squarespace, of course, is such a commonly used website platform I do not doubt it. It is quite likely that they do. Just note that uh, if we're talking about Zapier, um, it is not the easy way out. I will just say that it is more complex than setting up other typical integrations. It is also pricier. So if you're prepared for that, totally fine. But in some cases, it might be better to try to integrate if you're using Squarespace. BookFunnel, of course, doesn't integrate directly with Squarespace, but it might be better to try to integrate Squarespace with either your mailing list service or if you're using a sales platform, say like Shopify, to integrate with those platforms and then connect them to BookFunnel. And that can sometimes work a little bit better than trying to use Zapier. It's probably a little bit more cost effective as well. Let's see here. Question from Carol. If you sell an ebook via Amazon, can we also sell direct using BookFunnel? Sounds like you can as long as it's not in KU. Yes, that is correct. In fact, if your book is not enrolled in KDP Select or Kindle Unlimited, you can sell that book anywhere, right? When your book is enrolled in KDP Select or Kindle Unlimited, those two are essentially the same, right? Then you've basically agreed with Amazon that you're only going to sell it on that platform and only make it available on that platform. So I would not make it available elsewhere outside of Amazon. There are a couple of small exceptions to that. Like for example, some authors will distribute a sample of their KU books or KDP Select books direct uh, or through landing pages and so forth. You want to be cautious. Obviously, it should not exceed the amount or the length of the sample that would be in like Amazon's look inside feature if you choose to do that. And then review copies are also one thing that authors will do and distribute those outside of Amazon. Generally, that's seen as okay, but you want to be careful, right? You just want to be careful how you go about doing it. So Kara has a question. Is there a newsletter feature within BookFunnel, or does it only integrate with a program like MailChimp? Good question. BookFunnel is not a mailing list service, so no, we do not have a built-in newsletter feature. You'll need to use a service like MailChimp, MailerLite, etc. One of those other services. Let's see. Trish has a question. Is the understanding from your end that gifting a book falls within the KU guidelines? So this is a gray area, right? This is a gray area. Uh, it is. I'll address this question in two ways. Does that fall within the KU guidelines? Strictly speaking, well, it depends on why you're sending that book to somebody through a gift a book link. Is it for the purpose of review? Then it's still kind of a gray area. There are authors who have actually gotten into trouble with Amazon for doing things like that. Without knowing the details of what they were doing exactly, though, it's hard to know what actually got them in trouble, is the problem. Now, the second half of that question is whether or not Amazon is going to find out. And it's probably not likely, but I would still be cautious, right? So if you are distributing a review copy of one of your books that is on Amazon, my recommendation is always to do so discreetly. Do not make that available publicly to anyone and everyone to just freely download, right? Restrict access to it through some way because otherwise Amazon, if they do happen to stumble upon it, is going to say, well, it just looks like you're giving the book away. And that kind of breaks the terms of service here. So it's a gray area. Proceed with caution. But I can't tell you strictly speaking whether or not that would or would not get you in trouble with Amazon. However, highly unlikely that they would know since it is a single link sent to one reader by private email, right? So take that for what you will. Okay, so Tavy asks, what is the major benefit of BookFunnel? I set up my account and I already have a website and mailing list. How can I use it to my benefit to promote my book? So a good question, Tavia. It depends on what you're trying to do to promote your book. Obviously, BookFunnel landing pages are really easy to set up, and you can use them in a variety of ways. We have our ARC delivery features and other features to deliver books directly to readers. Also gives you control over how those readers can access those books. Group promos and author swaps, of course, are a way for you to cross promote with other authors. And if you're looking to do direct sales fulfillment, we can help you with that. So it kind of depends on what you're looking to do. Obviously, we are not a website platform or a mailing list, so we kind of fill in the gaps, if you will, of what those can do. So the benefits of BookFunnel are many. It depends on what you're using it for. We have authors using it for all different things. So, for example, an author like Katie Cross, who we recently had on the podcast, she's selling her books through her direct store. Right? Is she participating in BookFunnel promos? Occasionally, I'll see her books in BookFunnel promos, but her main focus is on selling her books direct. She uses her BookFunnel landing pages for her Facebook ads, as they're very useful for that. They tend to convert higher, especially when you pair them with a Facebook pixel. So it just depends on what you're looking to do. As far as finding readers, if that's your main concern right now, group promos are a great way to build a mailing list. And if you already have a mailing list, it can help boost that for you as well. Let's see. Barbara has a question. How do you interpret the share average? The share average, if we're talking about promos or swaps, in promos, it's the second number in your reputation. Let me pull that up here. So it would be this second number. That's literally just the average number of clicks. So if you've done 10 promos and you got 30 clicks on average in all of them, that second number would be a 30. Right? In swaps, there's only one number, and that is the share average. And so here, that's what you're seeing. So Lisa Blackwood, for example, if you swap with Lisa, on average, you could expect her to generate 146 clicks on the link to your book. Right? So that's what these share averages mean. A higher number is always like, more desirable in that sense. But also keep in mind, like if you want to swap with this author, you probably want to be relatively close to them in reputation because they want to get something out of it too. So that's kind of how I would look like that. Let's see here. So Tina asks, what is the share date? Is that the date you'll share with your newsletter and on social media? What if you don't end up doing it on that date? Do authors usually do sales on the day they share it? So good question. Let's answer those in order. You're correct. That is the date you are promising to share it with your newsletter and or on social media. You are not limited to only sharing on that date, but I do recommend if you promise to share on a specific date that you do follow through on that. You can update your share date after a promo has started. So you can go in and say, hey, you know what? I need to share on a different day. That's totally fine. And it's up to you whether or not you want to discount your books on that day. For example, if you're doing a sales promo using a universal book link, you may want to do that, but not necessarily required. Up to you. All right, question here. So Karen asks, it seems that BookFunnel reputations depend heavily on your newsletter subscriptions. What happens if, as in my case, your newsletter subscriber list is very small? How will your reputation be affected by fewer clicks? Or do clicks not depend on newsletter subscribers? Well, they do, but they honestly depend on a number of other factors too. So, for example, I've seen authors that have a list of 10,000 readers who have a reputation, an average click score under 10, because when they share their promos with their newsletter, they put them at the very, very, very bottom of the email to their newsletter. They basically hide them and bury them. And so nobody finds them and nobody clicks on them except for a handful of readers, even though they have 10,000 subscribers on their list. They're not getting thousands of clicks, right? So if your list is small, a couple things that you can do, a couple things I would recommend. When you do share your promos and your swaps, make that the central focus of that specific email that you're sending to your list. So that that's what's front and center. And even if you have a small number of people on your list, like even if you have like 50 people, that's just fine, right? A good majority of them are going to click because that's the main thing that you're communicating to them. You're not burying the lead, right? That's what I would recommend. Now, as your list grows, that can change. That can change, and you don't necessarily have to make it front and center every time as your list grows and becomes larger. But if you're just getting started out and your list is small, that's one way that you can work around that. So Carol has a question. Follow up to Karen B's question. What are the characteristics of an author who would benefit from BookFunnel? Sounds like they need to have a decent email list and first book available at minimum. A book would be great, some kind of book. But I'm going to actually say that if you have anything to give readers, let's say you're in the middle of writing your first book and you've written your first draft of your first chapter, that's enough. That's enough. And you need zero subscribers to your mailing list because you can actually just through BookFunnel promos grow a mailing list from zero, from scratch. So as long as you have something to give readers, you can start building an audience. So if you're literally at that like stage one, right, you can start using BookFunnel to grow your audience. And you might do it a little differently than an author who's released a dozen books is going to do it a little differently than an author who's like literally in the middle of writing their first book, right? You might like release new chapters to your mailing list as you go along, but you could absolutely use BookFunnel to start growing a list so that by the time you have your book completed, you have an audience of readers already, and you can say, hey, the book's ready, it's for sale now, right? So it's actually much easier to start from zero than you might think. Even in BookFunnel promos, this is something in the promos orientation that I do kind of go into a little bit, discussing how you would start from scratch, how you start from literally zero subscribers on your mailing list. You can grow it with BookFunnel promos. Right now, I wouldn't do it with swaps first. You want to do promos first, but it can be done. It can be done. So right. And we also have a variety of different plans depending on your needs. So if you are an author in that position and you're in the middle of writing your first book and you have no subscribers on your email list, well, the first time author plan is $20 a year, right? So it's very affordable as well. All right, we do need to wrap things up here to get to the next session. So I'm going to take one more question here. I'm sorry, folks, for if I'm not able to get to your questions here, but we do have to get along to the next session here in just a few minutes. So Sharon has a question. When it comes to time to send ARC copies, don't you do it before it is available on Amazon? So it shouldn't violate the terms of service. It's once the book is live that you would proceed with caution, right? Yes. So if you're sending out an ARC is an advanced review copy. So it implies that the book has not released yet. Then yes, you would send those out in advance. That's not going to matter at all. Amazon won't care about that. But you may want to continue providing review copies to select readers after a book has been published. Amazon has given mixed signals on this. People have asked Amazon if this is okay, and people have heard, yes, it's just fine, totally fine. You can absolutely give people review copies. And people have also heard, no, absolutely not. Why would you? That violates our terms of service. And so, unfortunately, that's created some confusion. However, if you do so discreetly, is how I would recommend you do it, have people go through a sort of a verification process before you would give them access to a review copy. Generally speaking, you're probably not going to get in trouble. And this is something that I guess I don't want to phrase it that way. Not that you're not going to get in trouble. If you're cautious, you're reducing the chances that you would get in trouble. Let me put it that way. So I'm being clear. I don't want to hedge my bets, right? And whether or not that violates Amazon's terms of service, unfortunately, Amazon themselves have not been 100% crystal clear on, right? They've been given contradictory rulings on that. So proceed with caution, yes, but it's still something that you may want to do even after a book has been published. All right. All right, folks, we have to wrap things up here for today. I want to thank you all for joining us for this session. If you guys are going to be joining us for our upcoming workshop on automating your ARC team or review team, that is going to be next. You should have received an email with a link to that about an hour ago. If you have any trouble finding that link or getting in there, feel free to reach out to BookFunnel Author Support. We'll help get you that link so you can join that session. And if you have any further questions, guys, I recommend reach out to BookFunnel Author support at bookfunnel.com, and we can absolutely help you with everything you guys might need to know. So without further ado, I want to wish you guys all a great rest of your day, and we'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos from BookFunnel, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.